I recently did a behind the scenes video. It was more focused on the hardware because I recognize a lot of people gatekeep and they don't share how they do their setup. And sometimes I think it can seem more technical than it perhaps is. So by extension, I just thought I might show the software side because I know there's going to be some people that genuinely are interested in content creation. Maybe they don't know where to start. They don't know what sort of setup to get. Now, I do link information in the description. So if you're on YouTube, for instance, it's in the description of the videos, which happens on every video. If it's on sort of TikTok, I do have a link tree in my bio. Now, I don't get a lot of money for referral links, but I'll admit they're referral links. But why not? I mean, it's only 1%. No, it's not. It's nothing. It's more for convenience for other people. So if you click through, it doesn't cost you to click through. Do you know what I mean? Like if you buy anything, it doesn't cost you any extra. So you're not losing. I've just made it more convenient. So effectively, you'll find items. I only share items that I endorse. You know, I wouldn't ever suggest like this TikTok store stuff where people try and sell products for crap. And I'm not interested in that. If I use it and I approve of it, then I'll share it. If I own it and I return it, I won't share it. And it's as simple as that. This is like products I use. So of course that's my setup. So anyway, I just thought I'd share the software side because I think that's just as important. Like you can have all the bells and whistles. You still have to put it together. So this is going to be, it's not going to be ideal because of the way the software on the computer works. So we'll have to go to this screen, I think. Yeah, and then so effectively on my setup, I can only show one of the screens. So I have an ultra wide monitor, which you'd seen in the previous video, connected to my gaming laptop. So literally, I've got a dual screen. So for myself personally, I have the main window, and then on my laptop, for instance, I'll have the software open so I can see what's being recorded, and it works for me. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is drag the box that's on my external screen that you can't see. I mean the monitor, the laptop screen, over to my external screen, which is my main monitor. So this is what I would normally have to the right-hand side of myself. So I can just see, make sure it's recording, make sure the audio's fine. Now, what you'll see is it does this repetition in the middle, and that's just a fault with the software itself. Like when it just duplicates for some reason when you put it on the recording screen, which is really weird. And it only happens when you try and record self. It's just this, you're trying to show the software you're using. It wouldn't normally have that. So on the other side, you wouldn't have this duplication at all. So, like for instance, if we just go by, I'm going to do it in stages because I think it's easier. Like if I just show like when I first turn the device on the computer and I'm about to record, what's the first thing I do? So the first thing I do, and it's going to be hard to show it here altogether because of the way the screen, the size and stuff. I can't make it any bigger. So I'll open the software up that handles my microphone. So my microphone's attached to an audio interface that goes from there to a USB into the computer. But the native sound, so how it comes out the box, isn't good enough. It's not deep enough, but also it picks up all the sounds in the room. So if I didn't have this software running, so like if you didn't have what I've got going and you had the same hardware, it wouldn't sound good at all. Like I've got a fan behind my microphone. It blows nice. It just circulates the air around me. I can have a big fan to the side of me, and that could be on. It's not on now, but when the summer kicks in, that'll be on. And the microphone doesn't pick any of these noises up. It barely kicks. I don't even know if it picks up the mouse and keyboard. If it does, it's very subtle. I don't think it actually does unless I'm talking. So this software does an awful lot of suppression on the audio, but in a really positive way. And I'll show that. So, like for instance, I have to make sure that my software is using the correct microphone. And that's the most important thing because you could talk for 20 minutes, an hour, you could do content for ages, and it might turn out it's using your webcam microphone, and that's terrible. Or if you've got like a laptop, for instance, you've got the built-in microphone there. So effectively, my setup has potentially, I think, 4 microphones because I wear noise-cancelling headphones, which also has a microphone. So in theory, I think it could probably use that. I'm not sure. I haven't tested that. I probably can. Anyway, forget it. So effectively, you've got this microphone, which is a professional one, which is the whole point of buying it. We've got a webcam, we've got a laptop, and potentially headphones. So you've got to make sure it's running the right one. So I open the software. In this case, it's SteelSeries. I'll open it up and you'll see the name of it. Oh, it's going to mess me up now because I can't see my screen. You can see it, but if I do it full screen, I can't see if it's working. I'm going to assume it is, so I'm going to go full screen. So effectively, this is SteelSeries Sonar. So Google that. It's part of a bigger package. I can't remember the actual name of the package now. SteelSeries gaming something. But anyway, just put up SteelSeries Sonar. Then all you need to do is focus on the Sonar side. We're not interested in game recording or any of that stuff. It's literally just Sonar. And then over here where it says mic, you just need to make sure it's got your microphone here. If it hasn't, click it and switch it to your microphone. In this case, it's not the microphone. Remember how it's connected to the computer. The computer is connected to the audio interface, which in turn connects to the microphone. But, so for instance, the computer only knows of the audio interface. It doesn't know what device is connected to it. So it's not going to say Shure MV7X because that is not connected to the computer. The audio interface is. So what is the branding of the audio interface? It's a Focusrite, and that's what it says, Focusrite. So we know this is the microphone. This is the setup. And then we go into... Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so that's where he's changed the microphone. Just trying to make sure I don't mess it up. So we go on mic at the top, for instance, when you set it all up. I've got mine on deep voice. It only adds a bit more depth. It doesn't add too much. You can do an equalizer, which I've got enabled, and you can play with the tone. I don't want to be unnatural. And it's got a way of testing over to the side there. You've got noise cancellation. Again, this is really good because what that's going to do is that's going to take away all those fan noises and things. So anything ambient in the room, it will just remove it and focus solely on my voice. And I'll put that up to the max because, to be honest, where I live, there's like noises in the street, all sorts of things. Let's get rid of it. Noise gate will close the microphone when you're not talking. So it guarantees nothing's going to be heard if it's unnecessary. And compressor, from my understanding, I think compressor is where it will level out your sound. So it shouldn't really go high peaks. So if you start shouting, it shouldn't go excessive. Keeps the voice in range so it never goes too loud. Yeah. So that's exactly what that does. So effectively, that's the mic setup. And then you just go mixer because that's where the whole setup is. And so that's what it just is. Everything's right on the microphone. That's good. And then down the bottom here, we've got the audio level. So we know when it goes red like that, that means we're being too loud. It might distort the sound. It's definitely not going to be its best. You obviously want to keep it in green, but I think in yellow is always fine. I find this volume's fine, but because you can go too low. This microphone isn't the loudest, at least my setup, and I would like to amplify it. I know artificial ways, but then it makes it more sensitive, so it's not necessarily as easy as it looks. It's quite complicated. So, for instance, we've got the microphone set up, and then you click these little three buttons here, and you can go into, I think it's properties. It might be advanced audio properties, actually. Right, properties anyway. It's got the right microphone. So this time, it doesn't say the Focusrite. It says SteelSeries Sonar microphone because we're using that software now. That's what we want to be recording. We don't want to go focus. If it just said Focusrite, it's bypassing the software. So everything you've just set up on your software is now pointless because you've just completely ignored it. So we want it to go through SteelSeries Sonar. So all these levels, microphone goes to the audio interface, it reaches the computer, goes through that software, and effectively that software is now what's being recorded as your microphone. Hopefully that makes sense. I think it's advanced properties at this point. Let me have a look. Yeah. So advanced properties, we've got the volume. You might have to go full screen on this video to really truly get the benefits of it. So we've got the microphone, and I've amplified it by 4 decibels to give it that bit extra audio levels. I've tried higher, but the trouble is it's not gain, it's more gain. So I think it just makes your microphone more sensitive. So it doesn't help if I was to put it up to 8, it'll be nice and loud, but then it'll be crackling. It's no good to me. I've got an offset of 1 millisecond just because I noticed it was out of sync. Slightly out of sync, so I've done that to offset it. And that's your settings for the that. Now, the other thing isn't so important, but because I have my noise cancelling headphones on, and I do like to just make sure the sound goes through that. I literally don't hear sound, but what it does, it literally just shuts the world off. So if I didn't turn my headphones on, I'd get distractions outside of me, and I like to just shut it off. So what it does, it all of a sudden just silences everything. And it's like, oh, nice. It literally silences, and that's really beautiful. So I can literally just then focus on what it is that's in my mind rather than anything on the external. So you have to just, obviously you'd have to make sure that it's set at the right-hand corner of your computer, which I'm in the way of now. We can try and do full screen maybe, and we can get up to see that. So like, for instance, here we can see we've got headphones. Output device is your headphones. Input device is the microphone, and it's a SteelSeries Sonar microphone. Now, one of the things I do is, depending on, this is where you're going to have to tinker. If you're doing gaming content, for instance, and you're doing a voice over the games can get incredibly loud, and your voice will not be heard. It will sound really weak. So sometimes you're going to have to use this slider here, desktop audio, and drop it down, like quite hefty, really. Maybe I'd say about 10 decibels or something, or even lower, depending on the game, of course. Because all it's going to do is it's like having a movie. You're trying to talk, and the movie's going mental. So of course people want to hear the movie, but there's no point you talking if it's gonna be overbearing. So you have to drop that down if you're doing your games. In fact, I might just keep it down now so I don't forget, because I was going to do a game recording soon. Yeah, so that's that side of things. Let's go into the settings. I don't know how much is going to be clear, because again, you might have to zoom in. These are quite important settings, to be totally honest. So here we've got video, which is really important. So my canvas is 1440p. It's just a normal widescreen that you'd have on like YouTube and things like that. In fact, I might change that soon, because when I use it's going to depend on the other video, to be totally honest. For me personally, it's awkward. It's annoying you can't have different profiles. So my main content, where I talk about life in general and I'm trying to uplift people, that's just me with a microphone and the camera. So ideally, that is the perfect resolution for something like YouTube. If I'm playing video games, for instance, it'd be nice if I could just record natively in the ultra wide monitor, because otherwise we're getting black bars at the bottom of the videos, and that's, in some ways, that's not ideal, because if someone's watching on an ultra wide monitor, if you can have it in its native resolution, they'd be able to enjoy it ultra wide. But then I don't know, it might make it awkward with me on the bottom. I don't really know. I mean, you're not going to want to keep changing it every time you do a video. That's the problem. So yeah, I wish they'd do profiles where I can have different resolutions depending on the scene I want to do. That's really ridiculous. So one of the other things that's really important here is you've got your frames per second. So I've got 30 now, but when I play games, I put it up to 60 because it makes it smooth. But if you're playing a game and you can't even reach 60 FPS, it's worth putting the value of what the game is. It's not letting me touch it because I'm recording. But yeah, you would make sure that's consistent. At the very, if you're not sure, I'd say maybe just keep it at 30. It's less stress on the computer to record. My webcam, for instance, runs at 30 FPS. So if I run it at 60, sometimes I think it can knock the sync out of that. But if it's playing a game, obviously I want a smooth gameplay. So there's that side of things. Output's going to be really important. Now it depends if you're streaming. I'm not streaming, so I don't really care about the information on that. But recording is really important. So ideally, you're going to want to do MKV. The reason you do MKV is if you've got a power outage, or there's an issue with like the game freeze, something freezes, you're not necessarily going to lose the video. It's still salvageable. If you record an MP4 and there's a corruption with the file, and any reason like you get a game crash, something crashes, you'll lose everything you've just recorded, and that really isn't good. So you can pick whatever quality you want, the file size. I've been using OBS for a long time, so I sort of know that you don't need insane sizes because they will get huge. And of course, if it's huge, it's going to be a big file to upload as well. So it takes ages to be able to even submit the file. But I think it's obviously important that we have good quality. So I go high quality, medium file size. MKV, I'm running an NVIDIA graphics card on my gaming laptop, so you would use whichever one's useful. I tend to go with graphics because my laptop, usually a lot of games, they will usually, sometimes they stress the life out of your CPU, and you're more likely to get stutters and things. So I tend to just go with the graphics version. They've got very good. In the past, it was weaker, but I think they're really good now. So I use the video encoder as my graphics card. That's really the main features, really. And of course, set some hotkeys. They're the main ones. Your audio, of course, has to be your SteelSeries here for your microphone. But set some hotkeys to start and stop. So I've got a page up page up button on my keyboard will start it, and the other one will stop it. Of course, you can manually do it, but on the settings. But that's really important. So that's really just covering all those things. And then, of course, at that point, now you've got to decide what items you want. You can put anything in these. Look, plus, so you can add in, we can go through it. Application audio capture. I'm not really sure what that is. Audio capture, audio. I don't know what some of that is. So browser be your web browser, but you can use display capture or window. I would just normally use window capture for that. Window captures down here. It just captures whatever, a specific window sometimes, or any window that's open. VLC video source, that's good if you just want to click a video file and have that playing, rather than just do window only, because it'll literally just automatically do it. Video capture device is going to be things like your webcam. I think that also comes down to game capture devices. So if you was to have like an external thing where you can record like from your PlayStation to put footage to your PC, things like that, that would obviously, I think that would come under it. Text is, of course, put text overlay over your videos if you choose to. Scene, I think, oh well, maybe it's to add an extra scene. So one of these scenes here, maybe you could incorporate into your existing video. That's quite interesting. Media source, I think it's the same as what I just said with the media source is going to be the same as video source there. And you've got images, game capture, display capture. So the main ones we're going to want, realistically, is your video camera, a window, if you choose to open something. So if we're going to go by one of my other videos, one of my other scenes, so for instance, this one, that's going to be display capture for this. This one in the middle is display capture. But it could also be, if I wanted to make it a window capture, I could. But that's just display capture. So anything that happens on this screen will turn up on there. So if we go, I haven't got anything else open now. But anyway, anything that comes up on my screen, which you can see my mouse moving all over the place, that's because it's display capture. Now, the more sources you have, the more taxing it is on your computer. So you might find things are stuttering, especially with games, when you're recording, and it's because the stress you're putting on it. And I didn't realize this, but the more scenes you have, even if you're not using it, they'll still use resources on your computer. So it's worth really, like where I've got some grayed out. It might be, if I'm never going to use them, just delete them. As simple as that. So where was we? Back to this one. So yeah, if we just go by this scene, for instance, just something so simple. At the moment, I've got video capture, which is my camera. We want to put that at the top. So whatever's at the top here is going to be the top of the overlay. And of course, then after that, everything underneath is layered underneath. So I've got display capture and game capture. For the most part, it's just game capture. But some games just do not work. So I have to use the display capture, which puts more pressure on the computer, which also reduces the frame rate. So it's less of it's not so much of a positive experience. But game capture can be really smooth. So that's really nice. And that's literally all mine is. As simple as that. It literally just capturing the game. Because I'm ultra wide, that's why you get the bars at the top and bottom. Because I'm just doing it natively, wherever my screen is playing at. Ideally, yeah, I'd want it to cover the whole screen. But personally, I'm not prepared to sacrifice my own user game experience to try to make the video fill a screen. I want to enjoy myself. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to enjoy myself, and I'm going to share the footage from that. And it's ultra wide because I like ultra wide. I see some people say, unfortunately, because my video would suffer, I can't use my ultra wide screen. I just think, that's just stupid. Just use your ultra wide screen. And if I wasn't doing my other videos, doing these ones, for instance, I would just do my resolution, for instance, like I said here. Under, is it video output? No, yeah, video. Under video, I would just change that to the ultra wide monitor. So it'd be even wider, 3,000, something. I think it's 3440. I think it is, by 1440, something like that. Or is it 356? Either way, whatever the resolution of that screen, I'd put there, and it would be completely ultra wide, and it would look absolutely incredible on YouTube, to be honest. But it would mess this one up, because the image in the background isn't ultra wide. So yeah, sometimes we have to just compromise a little bit. But that's that thing. And then all of a sudden, as I said, you can do different scenes over here. So that's a good one for my gaming content. If I'm doing my other video content, I've got a green screen behind me. So we've got video capture overlay, and then we've got image behind us. That's literally all this scene is. An image, background, and the video capture. I'm hoping that's coming up on the screen, to be totally honest. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure it's coming up. Wait a minute. I'm trying to think whether it's showing on the screen. I'm trying to think how I'm recording now. Is it working? I'm hoping this could be seen. Because I might be recording and it's not making sense. Because now I'm just trying to think how the viewer's going to see the video. Yeah, I think when I transition, you probably can't see the video. Because when I'm coming off I'm seeing what you're seeing. Because obviously I'm doing display capture. Then when I change over to the other scene, I'm not sure you can see the settings I'm doing now. So I've been changing I can do it on this one, but I don't think this one I can show what's going on. So effectively, I think, see, I mean, I'm trying to figure out like what can be seen here. With the other one, it's literally just background and the video. So what I'll probably do actually is it'll probably be easier on this one because I think the screen will be bigger. Yeah. So we just have to do it from here. So my video capture device, for instance, obviously is front and center. Then we've got display capture and thingy. But overall, I wouldn't normally have display capture enabled. It would game capture because it's my gaming side. But if we right click on video capture, we can go filters. There's a filter section. Now, from filter section, we've got color correction. I've got all sorts where I was testing it. I mean, it is not easy. And I'll show what happens actually with this. I don't know if I can undo it if I don't mess it up. I'd have to remember the numbers. So we've got color key, color correction, and chroma key. Chroma key is going to be really important because chroma key is my green screen. So let's say I take the green screen. Effectively, it's saying, look for this color and remove it. So anything in the background, anything that matches that color, just remove it. And then, of course, the layer behind you then becomes the image. So in this case, I haven't got an image. I've just used it. What I have in this, got the display capture. But in this instance, the game would play around me. On the other one, my image will be in the back of me. So if we take the chroma key away, in theory, now you can see there's a black bar behind me. Well, it should be. If I do this, you should start. Oh, it's still working. Wait a minute. Oh, it's not coming off. Oh, there you go. That's perfect. Okay. So now you can see it's a green screen. And if it weren't a green screen behind me, it'd be whatever's in the room. And you've got all these little settings within it. So we've got all these other settings here: similarity, smoothness, color spill, opacity. So opacity is whether it fades and things like that. Of course, you want full opacity. And you've got the color green to start with. And or you could use a color key. You could literally pick a color that matches it. We all know green is green, and it's literally an official chroma green. And then you just pick the similarities, of course. So if I click it, and then I've got these other ones just to try and get these loose ones because it's not all bright green. Behind me is dark. So it actually gets really hard because that's not green per se. It's shadow. So I try to make it pick that up, but then it starts blending with me and it can start making me fade. So it's actually quite crazy. But no, we enabled the chroma key. Boom. And now we should be back to normal if I'm right. Yeah, anyway, so that's the video. That's the thing there. So it's up to us to add the right things. But of course, make sure you use the right windows, of course, because like I said, if you're gaming, you want game capture. I really do. So for instance, if we open game capture now, you want a specific window because you're trying to tell it, look, I really want this game. I don't want just any window here. It has to be this. And like, for instance, the last one I recorded was Football Manager. But the annoying thing with this one is you're going to have to change it every time you change a game. You're just going to have to remember, obviously, it's not going to capture anything. So let's say I play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and last thing I recorded was Football Manager, and I haven't changed it. Well, it's just going to be a blank screen. You're going to go, why is it recording a blank screen? You're going to have to go back over there, and you're going to have to open it up, whatever's open here. And obviously, it's not going to appear until the game's fully launched. So when a game launches, it might go through different phases, and it'll be different files showing there. But once the game's fully loaded and it's full screen, you'll go here, and you go, there it is. And you click it, and all of a sudden, it should appear. Sometimes there's issues and it doesn't work, and you might have to just go Googling around trying to figure out what the hell's going on because some games don't like it. I'm pretty sure DirectX 12 games have a hard time displaying on OBS. It's a pain in the ass. It really is. So it just depends on the engine it's running on. In that case, you're gonna have to just use display capture. It's far more demanding on your computer. Which is hence why I've got it available if need be. But a lot of the time, I would just hide the display capture, or if I think it's affecting the recording, I'll just remove it and then add it again at a later date if I think I need it. But it's not I wouldn't use it much. Not for gaming. Display capture I wouldn't use for gaming. It's unnecessarily resource heavy. It just ruins the experience. Your game's frame per second is just going to dip like crazy. Yeah, if you don't have that and you can do game capture, it'll be beautiful. Of course, that's specific to gamers. Obviously, I can't show my YouTube one now because I've just realized the one where my main profile, I don't think it's showing. There is a way for me to do it, actually. In fact, I could do it. If I do a display capture, I can show, actually. You can see it pop up. So I've got to do display capture. And I get to pick which one I want. Why is it doing that one, actually? For some reason, it's not showing. Oh, they are. Yeah, it's doing automatic, and I can pick them on it up. So this one will be my gaming laptop. and you can resize it just to show. You know, so let's say I wanted to do that. We can add that. That's my gaming laptop, which has got all my I like to have the temperatures and things next to me, so I can see how the computers, the laptop's performing. I might, and bear in mind that's 1440p. It's a normal widescreen. Now I'll use my main monitor, which is the external one. It's ultra wide, so you're going to see it's going to obviously the resolution's going to change and the parameters. So the dimension's going to be thinner and wider because it's an ultra wide monitor. So now it looks nice. And I like it. So let's say we did that. And of course, I can shrink it myself with my cursor in the corner. But also, there's something else we can do, which is really useful. So you can right-click the feature, and you do, where is it? Transform somewhere. Yeah, transform. It's in the middle. Do edit transform. Before we do that, actually, if you ever open it up and it's not full screen, you think, why the hell is it so small? Just do fit to screen at the bottom, and it will just expand it to the full screen, and then you can mess about after that. But let's say I put it here, and let's say I think, well, it's too wide. Like for instance, with my camera, let's say my green screen only goes to where my arm is, but the camera's picking up further across, and it's like, well, that's annoying because if we can cut it there, it's fine. So what we can do is go on our display capture, and then you do transform, edit, and then you just mess about. So like crop left, crop right. You can obviously crop the bottom and top. But let's say I just want to get, look, we're going to do this. We're going to try and get it as close to the side of this box as we can. So I'll guess about 400 pixels. Now, okay, so we're looking at that. We're going, okay, we're going to need more than that. I reckon 750, maybe 800. So we do 750. Okay, now we look at the 900. No, 1,000. Okay, 1,100. Yeah, that's good. And then we'll go on the left side and we go, well, I'm not sure if it's going to mirror because we've got this box open. In fact, if we move the box into the middle and then we do 1,100 on that side, very close. Okay, 1,200. There you go. And that's what you can do. And of course, we could do top bottom if we wanted to. So top maybe 300. And then we go, maybe the bottom is 400, maybe 350. Maybe it is 300, maybe. Anyway, effectively, that's what we've done. By editing this part with this, we've actually managed to do that. So let's say I wanted to do that, and then you can then drag it and make it bigger. So I mean, I probably could have done that in the beginning. Actually, that might have been better. That might have been better all along. Maybe I could have done that in the first place. Just cut the video, cut the screen, and made it bigger. Oh, that's annoying. But hopefully it's been useful to people who need to use OBS because, obviously, it's obviously tinker with it. You're not going to hurt yourself, you know. If you think, oh, you know, what is it? Because everybody's going to have a unique experience. You know, what is it you actually want to do with it? And you'll find there's ways to get it to perform what you want. So maybe you want an image overlay, maybe you want a camera, maybe you want game capture, display capture, window. And like I said, I've got my setup going on over here, and I like it. So, for instance, if I open up a web browser or anything, it will just come straight up in the middle of my screen, and I can talk about whatever the content is, and I can talk over here. It also allows me to promote my books without keep talking about my books. I hate self-promotion. So by just having them in the corners, anyone coming across my content will immediately know, oh, he has books. So it just helps me really get my work out there too. But hopefully this has been helpful to people. I mean, I'm sure there's probably things I could have covered that maybe I haven't covered. And I'm sure there's things that I don't even know about, you know, because I know to certain levels. But I see people do things all the time and I'm like, I don't know how they're doing that. Like, I don't know how they remember. So I'm guessing there might be ways to make your scene specific numbers on a keyboard. And maybe they remember innately what one it is. But then some people have like a box that's on their screen. I mean, on a desk, a physical box. I can't remember what they call it now. And they can literally just press it and it'll open up applications, change scenes, and do all sorts of stuff, you know. You've even got over the side here, scene transitions, fade. So yeah, I mean, there's I don't even know what that one is. So there's always things, you know. But hopefully, like I said, I've done the physical hardware, and now this covers some of the software. But of course, now after doing that little edit we just did here, I'm thinking I could have recorded it like that. That'd have been a lot easier. That'd be easier. So it's a bit like, but honestly, I don't want to do another 30-minute video all over again. I'm hoping it's clear. I mean, I think it should be. If anyone does full screen on a normal video, I mean, there's no reason you can't see it because it'll be the same way I'm seeing it on my screen, isn't it? So yeah, there's no reason for me to record it all over again. But yeah, hopefully that's a good introduction into OBS, because if I didn't mention that at the beginning, software is OBS and OBS is free. It's open source. You literally just download it. It'll come up randomly with updates. It's up to you whether you want to bother with the updates. Sometimes it's just worth looking. It'll be a hot fix. So what's the things it's fixing? Is it something I'm even having issues with at the minute? Sometimes I say, wait, do it later, because I might just be ready to record and I'm like, I don't want to mess about. It doesn't take long, but sometimes I'm like, remind me later. You know, don't need it right now. It's working fine. But yeah, overall, you want to obviously keep it up to date. So I wrapped up the video and I forgot one vital thing at the end, and that is to remux your video. Now, I didn't know what that was myself back in the day, and I figured it out. So effectively, you record a video and it's an MKV. MKV, you can still upload to YouTube, but I think you have issues elsewhere. So if you try to put it up to TikTok, for instance, they're not going to be happy. You've got to be MP4. So what it is, the way I see it is MKV is raw. It's like, but MP4 it consolidates the video to a final production, so it's compatible everywhere. Whereas MKV isn't always compatible everywhere, but it can be edited. So all you do is go top left corner, remux. And as you can see here, I'm not going to bother clicking through now, but because you'd click the double buttons on the side here. So you'd click these 3 buttons, and then it'll take you to your file destination. I might be able to just do it. So you can do final destination, and then you would click one of these videos. So this one says MKV. I don't know. I can try and get it here. This one says MKV when you hold over it, and then this one says MP4. Where I haven't even done it yet. Okay. So let's say that one, the one I did a minute ago, it's 30 minutes. The video just before this one. It took a long time. And then all you do is press, and then you would just click remux. Then you do that, and then we can go file, and then you can go show remux videos, remux recordings, or show recordings. So you go show recordings, and it's there. So now we got an MP4 of the MKV file. So they're both exactly the same duration, pretty much the same file size, and one's a final MP4 and one's an MKV. That's literally all you got to do. So you record it in MKV to make sure that if it's gonna get corrupted, it's fine. Then at the very end, you just you obviously press stop recording, and make sure you start recording before you start, and then remux recording. If you ever get CPU overload at the bottom of the screen, there's a little bit where it shows you how long it's recording. If it says CPU overload, it's like, just have a little look at your settings, because you might be pushing it too hard with your gaming, or maybe try the different video encoder from software to the graphics card.